want to ask you one question. How did this exchange come about?
I lived back in Berlin for several years, and I met a friend through a friend, and he was studying to be an English teacher. And we kind of joked one afternoon at a Union Berlin
Where
lunch.
else?
Yeah, where else? About starting a student exchange one day, and it just kind of went away. And then it was about 4 years later. I think it was 4 years later. 3 years later. He was an English teacher in Neuenhagen outside of Berlin and contacted me and said he had a group of students who was interested in coming to Minnesota for a student exchange. And I found host families, and that was the first time that a group from Berlin came to Spring Lake Park. He then changed schools and went to the Gabriele-von-Bülow-Schule, and we continued the exchange through there. He had since moved on, and with colleagues I met through the exchange, we continued the exchange then till today.
So this has been going on since approximately 15 years.
Yeah, 2005 was the first group that
Wow.
came from Berlin, and 2006 was the first group that came from the Gabriele-von-Bülow-Schule.
Okay.
So,
So could you elaborate a bit on what kind of makes Spring Lake Park High School special, or how many students are in the school and how big is the school and so on?
yeah, we're a suburban high school of Minneapolis. We have approximately 2,000 students in grades 9 through 12. Kind of standard offerings, or the standard schedule for most students, with 4 core classes. One thing that does set us apart a little bit, I think, is the amount of different courses we offer. We have first aid and medical technician courses. We have some engineering courses. So we try to offer the students a variety of things to find their interests.
Yeah, and one part of this variety is surely the German program. How come that you got a German program? I mean, I know that in Minnesota there is a lot of German ancestry, kind of, but why is it that there is a German-speaking program?
There actually aren't too many or very many thriving German programs in the state anymore. It's kind of a dying breed with the popularity of Spanish. But we've found a way to keep kids interested in German through things such as the exchange and travel, as well as offering college courses on our high school campus. So that's kept many kids interested. Yeah, it's definitely more of a niche language, if you could say so, but we do have a solid core of kids who take German.
Cool. So when kids come here to Minnesota, it's maybe not the first thought that comes up in your mind when you think about the U.S. What do you think is it like, kind of a good experience to come to Minnesota? What does Minnesota have to offer?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you say that, because we are known as flyover country, because we're in the middle of the U.S. between New York and Los Angeles. I grew up here, so I love it because I grew up here. It's my home. But I believe we have a lot to offer. We have great infrastructure. We have great opportunities for getting out into nature with lakes and parks and different hiking opportunities. We have all 4 professional sports, including, those are the men's major sports, including a couple of other women's major sports. We have great theaters. We have great universities. University of Minnesota is a large state university with over 40,000 students.
That's the one in Duluth, right?
That is a branch, so there are several branches of the University of Minnesota. There's one in the Twin Cities that has about 40,000 students.
So it's actually one university with 4 different branches.
There's several different branches. So everybody who studies there earns a degree from the University of Minnesota, regardless of which campus you study at.
Okay.
And I guess we're known for being Minnesota nice, I guess. But I don't know if that really holds up.
Okay. What do you think should people or like students bring to come here? Just from your point of view.
I think when anybody travels, the most important thing is to have an open mind, positive attitude, try to really see and experience how other people live instead of just seeing it through your phone or your camera.
Instead of just consuming.
Kind of more observing and
also be willing to interact, I guess, and to be part of the host families and not just like be a guest as in a hotel guest, but really to interact with your environment.
It takes some confidence to take some chances, and
I guess that's what it's all about as well, like to go out of your comfort zone and to really get out there and talk to people and start to be vulnerable, kind of.
I think so, and I think a lot of times when people travel or people see different things, they say they're stupid or that it's not right, and really it's not. It's just different, and it's different for you, and many ways to live, and I think you can come here and see a fair American lifestyle, but also one that's more Midwestern and rooted more in the, I don't know how to say this, more of a slower paced, outdoor focused lifestyle where we have our 4 good seasons and winter lasts about 6 months. So
well, actually you got 2 seasons, right?
We actually joke we have 3 seasons. We have winter, summer, and road construction. Or winter and road construction is the joke.
Okay, so exchange is obviously a 2-way street. So that means you guys come and visit us in Berlin as well, which is super nice. What did you enjoy the most about your trips to Germany with the students, and what did they enjoy the most? So far as you can tell.
Well, my students, we live in a smaller area, so right away when you get to Berlin, there's the big city feel, and so that's one level of culture shock for my students.
But don't they know it from Minneapolis? Not really, because they don't live in Minneapolis.
They don't live in Minneapolis, and they don't spend a lot of time in Minneapolis.
Downtown.
And I think if you don't really live in a big city, you don't know what that feels like just by visiting. So that is, I think, a first culture shock, and then the fact that, of course, they're in Germany is another level. But it's great, I think, for my students to see how people function in Berlin with the public transportation and the wonderful art scene that's there, and how people are really very well-rounded and eclectic. It's really a culture shock, as I said, for them, just because we live in such a small suburb. Even though we're close to Minneapolis, I think a lot of the kids live a small town American life.
In suburbia.
And that is, it's just a difference getting to the, to use the cliche, the hustle and bustle of Berlin that I think they really grasp onto as well. Just kind of the allure of a big city.
What do you think? Do the American students like the German cuisine, and what else comes with it? Like some kind of cultural differences?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about the cuisine as a whole. I don't know exactly what they're eating in the families and such.
And actually, what is a German cuisine in the end, right?
Really,
Yeah.
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 Noodles with sauce. Maybe, right?
Just
Almost more
stole that from the
Italian.
Italians.
The favorite German food,
Yeah.
spaghetti. Yeah, I try to expose them to new foods and buy foods for the group.
What do you buy?
I buy different
Schwarzbrot?
different sausages or different
Oh, yeah.
breads, and try to get everybody to try them to see them. Maybe they might like it, or if they want to spend their own money on it. A lot of the bakery goods, of course, are very popular, and all the different cakes, and
Die Konditoreien.
that's another world for them with
Yeah.
with the different cakes and layered cakes. So that's fun. Otherwise, of course, Döner is
Sure.
always a big hit with the kids. They love
Originally
those.
a German dish.
Of course. It sure is.
Actually, is it? The kebab, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The guest workers came
Yeah.
up with the
Yeah.
kebab. So that's fun. They get to. I try to bring them into different meat markets or restaurants or bakeries, so they can see what's offered and.
Yeah. Why do you think student exchange is an important thing or like a worthwhile thing to have? Why do you put so much work? I mean, I just see how many hours and days and weeks are spent to organize these kind of trips. I mean, I see it with Mrs. Sandfuchs, and also obviously with you, what you're doing here on your part, and this is quite some work. So.
Well, I had the opportunity to go study in Rosenheim when I was in college, and it may not have been the best experience.
Due to Rosenheim, or
Just in general with the language difficulties and just the culture shock and being away from home. But I think when you do a program like that, or you go somewhere new, what you learn about yourself is as important or more important than what other knowledge you obtain. I think you figure out more quickly what's really important to you and what matters to you, and then change your perspective of how you deal with others and treat others, because you've been in that position of being the outsider or not being comfortable. And I think it helps you develop some empathy and appreciation for others and how others live, and how it's not wrong to live a different way. It's just different. And I think that's my main motivation, is you don't know what benefits you may get from a student exchange in the immediate happening, but years later, I think there are things you can draw off of the experience, positive or negative, that can pay dividends in the future in how
For
you
sure.
approach different problems or challenges in life.
Yeah, I think this holds very true, to be honest. To come to an end, is there anything you would like to optimize or change about exchange? Are there any things that you think could be even better? Don't worry, just cut it out,
Yeah,
like
no.
it's just
Um,
or anything.
I think we could make a few changes to the program and try to keep the program evolving to match the students' interests and their needs. Depending on timing, like we went to the NBA game this year. We had done that before.
Which was amazing, by the way. Yeah.
Because it worked out and it was a great experience, even for the Americans. A couple of the American students told me they had never been to Minneapolis for an event before like that, so that was a changing experience for them as well. And I think maybe just having the students realize up front, regardless of their situation at home, that being able to go to another country with a group of students and experience those things and stay with another family is really a privilege and something that shouldn't be discounted. And I'd like to encourage all the students who participate in the exchange to really do their best to maximize the experience
For themselves as well.
For
as well
themselves,
as, yeah.
for themselves mostly, because
Yeah.
that's what they're here for, is to better themselves and to engage in and embrace all the activities, even if it's something that they may not have thought they were interested in before. Just keep an open mind and be flexible and make the most out of every situation.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.